Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Fabiola. I am from Mexico and I'm also a chocolate maker over here. Today I will be your tour guide and we will be traveling the world through chocolate together. All of the chocolates that we are going to try are made by chocolate makers from all around the world. They are crafted by fair, ethical, and all of them are sustainable brands. So excited to tell you more about what's going on in this world. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to tell you a bit more about what is craft chocolate. As the word says it, craft, it is something that takes more time to make it and a bit more thought to make it. This is not just like any chocolate that you can find in any supermarket, all of the big brands that we all think about. That's exactly the opposite of craft chocolate. So, craft chocolate means that we are trying to accentuate the flavors of the cacao bean, which is basically the base of a chocolate bar. So, we're trying to accentuate all of these flavors of the cacao through the process of making chocolate. It's also it has to do with sourcing cacao ethically. Many of the brands that we know don't source their cacao ethically. There tend to be child labor and very rough labor conditions happening. So this is what craft chocolate means. It's a new movement that is trying to accentuate all of these good things that are around chocolate that have disappeared with industrialization. Okay, so setting the mood for craft chocolate is very important. So I will ask all of you to, after this explanation, to pause the video or the presentation and take your time to set everything up. So you will need a spoon, plate, and a napkin per person. You will need plenty of warm water. The warm water will help you take your chocolate, eat it, have the experience, and then clean your palate with warm water, and then you can move into the next chocolate. You will need a knife to help you cut all of the samples, and of course, pen and paper to write any notes about how you might have felt of a specific chocolate you might have liked, or notes that you felt, or whatever you feel in each chocolate. So before we start our journey, you might be wondering, how is chocolate made? We will be resuming 6 to 9 months of work in a very few slides. So here you can see that this is a cacao pod, in case you hadn't seen a cacao pod. It takes around 6 months to mature, and the tree takes about 5 years to give a fruit. And each pod, which is the fruit, the big fruit, has anywhere between 30 to 50, 60 seeds inside each pod. These seeds that we all know as the cacao bean, which looks like an almond, something like this, is wrapped in a pulp. So this cacao pulp tastes a lot like lychee, like soursop. It is tangy, sweet. I love the flavor of these. These are super special. The next step is to ferment the cacao seeds with the pulp. Here we use wooden boxes. We fill them up with the fruit, the cacao fruit, and the cacao, and then we cover it with big leaves. In Mexico, we use banana leaves, and we leave it fermenting for around 4 to 7 days. And this is where all of the most interesting flavors from cacao can come. The next step is to place them in these drying beds, usually in the sun. So this allows all of the moisture to evaporate. So the next step is roasting. Roasting is important because this is also when you start profiling your chocolate. So just as specialty coffee, it's the same thing. The next step is winnowing, which means that you separate the cacao husk from the nib. So this is a cacao. So what the machine does is that it separates all of the husk which you don't eat because it has a very bitter flavor and a weird texture. It's this, it looks like a little leaf. And then you're left with the nibs, and the nib is what is used to make chocolate. After this, the cacao nib needs to be refined with sugar and, in some cases, cacao butter. There are a lot of ways of refining your chocolate. You can use a ball mill refiner, you can use a metate, which is the typical method how we used to grind cacao here in Mexico. You can use a stone mill melanger. There are infinite ways. After this, you need to temper your chocolate. Tempering means moving the temperatures in the chocolate to make it crack, to make it separate from the mold, to make it shine, and to make it very nice whenever you're eating it. It melts in your mouth differently when it's tempered versus when it's not tempered. After this, what we do is that we mold our chocolates. We place them in the molds. We let it cool down for a bit. We demold it, and then we wrap it, and it's ready to go. All right, we're gonna get now into some school. So chocolate geography. Of course, cacao doesn't grow everywhere. Here we have a map of the world. We take this map as a reference. Cacao only grows 20 degrees north and 20 degrees south of the equator. So there you can see where it says in the map Ecuador. So from there, 20 degrees norte, 20 degrees south. That's where cacao grows. Cacao also needs a hot or tropical climate, like where it's humid. You need temperatures ranging between 65 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Cacao is a very special tree. Also, other than the coordinates that I just gave you and the temperature, it also needs sufficient shade because if not, it dries, and it needs rainfall. It needs quite a big amount of water. So it is not that easy for the plant to grow, for the tree to grow. So in the map, you can see from west to east, cacao growing in Mexico, which is my country. Luckily, we do have cacao. We cross the Atlantic and we see production in West Africa and Central Africa and Madagascar. We also find cacao in India and Sri Lanka. And as we move a bit, we can also find production in Southeast Asia, but especially in Indonesia. So what you can notice in the map is that not necessarily the countries that produce the most cacao are those countries that consume most of the cacao. Actually, none of them in this map do, except for Brazil. It is the only country in the world or nation that consumes cacao at higher levels. The rest of us mainly export the cacao. So now that you have this map or mental map that I just showed you of where cacao grows in the world, we are gonna begin our tour in Manta, Ecuador, which is one of the oldest growing places of cacao in the world. Ecuador is the third largest producer of cacao in the world today. So this country is mainly known for its fine aroma nacional variety, which is highly prized by chocolate makers around the world, and it's like a bean that everyone is looking for. As I said before, it's the third largest cocoa exporter after Ivory Coast and Ghana. Ecuador produces around 70% of the world's fine aroma cacao. This contributes to approximately 5% of Ecuador's gross domestic product, GDP. All right, so we're about to taste our first chocolate. It is fun to taste the chocolate while each maker is presenting it. So Susana Cárdenas, which is a good friend of mine, she is of course from Ecuador. She's going to be presenting what you're going to be trying. But I encourage you that after you try the chocolate, take a pause and just let yourself feel the chocolate and maybe talk it with the person that is right by your side and just discuss it. It's always fun when you discuss whatever you're feeling.
Hi, I'm Susana Cárdenas, founder of Cárdenas Chocolate from Manabí, Ecuador, and we're here to talk about one of our favorite chocolates, Jipijapa coffee. Beautiful chocolate bar, part of our Tierra Hermosa chocolate collection. It's not only my favorite chocolate, is a favorite of many of our customers in Europe and in the US. Why? Because it's an award-winning chocolate and because it unifies two iconic products we have in Ecuador, Nacional Cacao and specialty Arabica coffee. When we crafted this chocolate, we wanted to unite heritage, history, and flavors. The cacao comes from an area that it has been harvesting cacao for 130 years. And the coffee actually comes from an area that the first coffee trees were planted in the 1850s. So we're delighted to create this chocolate for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. It's rich, it's opulent, it's unique.
From Ecuador, now we are traveling a bit southeast to the incredible nation of Brazil. So Brazil's entree in this cacao world has been a bit more recent than Ecuador. It's believed to have been present in southern Bahia as early as 1655, and by 1825, Brazil began exporting cacao. Back then, Brazil used to be the second largest cacao producer behind Ivory Coast. But in the cacao growing world, there exists a lot of complications, such as disease for cacao, which include the witch's broom that devastated a lot of crops in 1990s, and that made them just go down in production and exportation. So as I mentioned before, when we were looking at the map, Brazil is a country that, other than producing cacao, consumes a lot of cacao. And they have such a big demand between the country that they have to import a lot of cacao to meet this demand. Brazilian cacao has been gaining a lot of hype around chocolate makers because it is a very fine and very exquisite cacao when it is transformed correctly. Amelonado varieties, which is a variety of cacao, grows in the lower Amazon, and it offers intense aromas like caramel and nutty notes. So this amelonado is particularly famous from Brazil. Okay, so now we're excited to be tasting a very special bean. I wouldn't call it cacao because it is. There are quite a few brothers of cacao, and the name of the tree of cacao tree, as you know, is Theobroma cacao. So there are a lot of derivatives from that Theobroma. So in this case, this is a Theobroma grandiflorum, which is like a brother or a cousin of cacao. And unluckily, we don't grow it in Mexico, where I am, but I have tried it, and they do grow it in Brazil. So this is like super difficult to find, and you should be very excited to be trying this. So this is native to Brazil, the Theobroma grandiflorum. So I am excited to introduce to you to Arcelia Gallardo, which is on the picture holding her bars. She has a brand called Mission Chocolate that I love. She has beautiful chocolate bars and she does beautiful work. She began her company in 2013, and her line of product, she likes to feature chocolates that have native flavors from Brazil. So you will be trying Brazil in a bar.
My name is Arcelia Gallardo and I am Mission Chocolate. We are a factory and store in Sao Paulo, Brazil with a small lab in California. I have been working with chocolate for over 20 years and love to create flavors and products that don't exist and that represent Brazilian geography, culture, history, and gastronomy. Mission Chocolate is the most awarded chocolate in Brazil, and it all started with our 70% Cupuaçu bar and our Biomes line, which showcases native Brazilian fruits or nuts that grow wild and are harvested and processed by families or small co-ops. Although a lot of our palettes are very international, there is something very special about taking ingredients that grow in similar climate or regions. For this bar, our sugar comes from the state of Sao Paulo. The cacao and cupuaçu is grown in the state of Bahia, which means that this is 100% Atlantic rainforest biome. Cacao and Cupuaçu are cousins. They're similar but different. We use the seeds of the cacao fruit to make the chocolate, which has notes of brown dried fruits and is a bit earthy. From the Cupuaçu fruit, we use the pulp, which is bright, acidic, tropical, with notes of pineapple and banana. This combination screams 100% Brazil.
Right, so from Brazil, let's head back to North America, to the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, the most populous island in the West Indies, where we find Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. So cacao was introduced when Dominican Republic was colonized by the Spanish. The production began in the 1640s with its first exports in the 1650. So today, the Dominican Republic produces 60% of the world's organic and certified cacao. That is impacting, making it the #1 producer of cacao, organic cacao, and #10 in just overall production. So I'm happy to introduce to you Jens Kamin from Definite Chocolate in the Dominican Republic. They're only using local ingredients. And the chocolate was the first chocolate in Dominican Republic to win an international award.
Hi, this is Jens from Definite Chocolate. We are a small bean-to-bar craft chocolate maker in the Dominican Republic. And today we are trying a 70% chocolate bar with crunchy cassava. Cassava is really important to the Dominicans, and already the indigenous people, they used to make cassava bread from the yucca root. The cacao comes from Caribe. It's a well-known local producer of fine flavored cacao. When you try this bar, you can taste notes like dried fruits, like plums or raisins, and with the roasted cassava, it gives you a really nice crunch to it. And also a touch of saltiness from the sea salt. What we definitely try to do is always incorporate Dominican ingredients, because we want to tell a story, and also we want you to feel a really unique Dominican experience. What we want you to feel is, when you try our chocolate, as if you were traveling through the Dominican country. Enjoy your travels.
And now we're going to be traveling north, and we're gonna go to Mexico. And this especially is Guadalajara, the city where I am from. So I invite you guys to come with me. Mexico, of course, has a very special history with chocolate, because it has been in our DNA since the beginning of times. So cacao was first domesticated in Mexico by the Olmec civilization around 4,000 years ago. After that came civilizations like the Aztecs and the Mayas, which we all know, that they used cacao as a currency to exchange all of the goods that they produced. So in many other countries, we've seen that they eat cacao in the form of chocolate, but in Mexico, the tradition has always been to drink cacao. We use it in a lot of traditional drinks that include, well, of course, hot chocolate, chocolate caliente. We mainly use that with water, not necessarily with milk. So you add cacao, sugar, and cinnamon, and you whisk it with the molinillo that I imagine a lot of you have seen. It's this piece of wood, very sophisticated, that you whisk, and it makes like a lot of bubbles, and it just makes the chocolate perfect to drink. We also have tejate, which is a cold cacao drink from Oaxaca. We have tascalate. We make mole poblano with it. So we have it. We take chocolate mainly in our dishes, not necessarily in a chocolate bar. So we're slowly introducing the chocolate bar to our own country. So now I'm excited to auto introduce myself. Hi, my name is Fabiola, and I have a chocolate brand called Metiche. We don't grow cacao in the region where we have our small chocolate factory, which is in Guadalajara, which I mentioned before, but we work with producers and small cacao producers, small families that live in the southern part of Mexico, both in the states of Tabasco and Chiapas. Here I'm going to present to you a beautiful combination of two iconic ingredients of my country, which include mezcal, that is a spirit that is drank here in Mexico. It's almost like a brother to tequila, and cacao. So I'll let you guys discover it in the next slide. Hello guys, how are you? This is Fabiola from Chocolate Metiche. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about this beautiful bar, which is our 70% cacao bar with mezcal. The way that we make this bar is that we get the beans and we roast them. After we roast them, we let them soak in mezcal for over 2 months. So this allows the beans to soak all of the flavors from the mezcal, and then we let it dry. After that, we mix it in our stone mill blenders with the sugar and the cacao butter. The result is a very complex chocolate. It's also a very intense chocolate. Here for reference, I have some of the liquid that is the residue from the nibs, just so you guys can see the intensity of the flavors that you will be getting. It is also like it has some notes of vanilla, some notes of tobacco, and naturally of wood and smoke from the mezcal. So I invite you guys to try it. It's a really nice bar. We love it here, and it's one of our favorite ones. Thank you guys. All right, so from Guadalajara, Jalisco, we head straight toward the sunrise in the East Ocho Rios, St. Anne Parish in Jamaica. Jamaica is known for fine flavored cacao. Their cacao is famous, and they primarily produce Trinitario cacao. Trinitario is a variety of cacao. So similar to Brazil and Ecuador, Jamaican cacao is often grown using sustainable agroforestry methods, which is very special. Not a lot of countries do that. They plant trees under the canopy of larger shade trees. So with a longer history of using chocolate, this island is credited with inventing chocolate milk. But they have a long history of a popular hot drink called chocolate or cocoa tea, cacao tea, a chocolate ball mixed with sweetened condensed milk and spices like cinnamon, leaf, nutmeg, and pimiento. Featuring another incredible culinary tradition from Jamaica, I'm very excited to introduce to you the brand of pure chocolate, which is brand by Renee and Walter in Jamaica. Jamaican jerk, a culinary Jamaican seasoning enjoyed worldwide, traditionally one meat, is one of the enduring legacies of the fusion of African and Taino indigenous cultures in Jamaica. Today, we are going to try this in chocolate.
Hi, my name is Renee Johnson, co-founder of Pure Chocolate Jamaica. We are farm-to-bar chocolate makers who work closely with our local artists, farmers, and local communities. Inside each packaging, you will find information on each farmer that we use, the artists that we use, so you can visit their platforms. You'll also learn a little bit of patois, and you'll see our entire process being done. Each packaging stands as a business card for each artist that we use to showcase their amazing work. Today, I would love to introduce to you one of the fans' favorite, or 70% dark with jerk seasoning. This bar showcases our fine flavored cocoa beans and also our local cuisine. This bar pairs beautifully with a charcuterie board and a glass of red wine. You heard it here, it's a savory bar. You can find this bar along with many more on the platform Bar and Cocoa, Pure Chocolate Company, and please follow us on Instagram at Pure Chocolate Jamaica.
So from Jamaica, we travel halfway around the world to Godavari region in the south of India. Cacao was first introduced to India in 1798, but reintroduced more recently by the company Cadbury in the 1960s, to the level where people used to call the cacao tree, which, remember, I told you it's Theobroma cacao. They called it the Cadbury tree. Anyway, India's diverse climate allows the unique flavor profiles in its cacao. The key growing regions include Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka. Cacao in India is primarily grown as an intercrop in coconut, areca nut, and oil palm plantations, providing shades for the cacao trees. India is relatively a small producer of cacao. Looking at it in a global scale, they are the 19th largest producer of cacao beans globally. Same case as Mexico, India currently imports around 70% of its cacao to meet its domestic demand. In India, there is a tendency to be moving to organic farming methods and to empower women and tribal farmers into the cocoa cacao cultivation. Chocolate consumption in India is growing and is expected to reach 5.3 billion by 2032. Of course, Indian traditional sweets are more popular than chocolate still, but they are slowly also moving into the consumption of chocolate. So now that we know a little bit more about the cacao and cacao production in India, I'm excited to introduce you to Akhil and Pratina of Bon Fiction Chocolates in India. They are a tree-to-bar maker, which is super cool because that means that they start the process since the tree, so they take care of everything. Most chocolate makers are bean to bar, which means that the bean arrives to our factory and we transform it. But they have direct contact with the tree, so they probably have trees growing in their backyard, which is beautiful.
Hi, I'm Akhil. Along with my wife Pratina, we started Bon Fiction, a tree-to-bar chocolate brand in Rajahmundry on the banks of River Godavari in southern India. Today I'm going to introduce you to our creation, the Rose and Pistachio Skies. This bar is a combination of two cherished Indian ingredients, the roasted pistachio and real rose petals. The pistachios are roasted to perfection and blended into the real dark chocolate to create a natural harmony of flavor. Rose petals are added in subtle and small quantities to create a pleasant flavor that lingers after every bite. To truly experience this chocolate, take a bite, chew once or twice, and let it melt in your mouth to release the nutty and floral flavors. It is a truly unforgettable and unparalleled experience having this bar. Thank you for supporting Bon Fiction, and see you soon.
We continue our journey eastward from India across the Bay of Bengal to another ancient and delicious food culture that is also new to cacao, Thailand. Cacao was introduced in Thailand relatively recently, being brought over from the Philippines. Commercial cultivation of cacao just began in the 1960s. Cacao in Thailand is often grown using agroforestry methods, intercrop with other plants like coconut, durian, and mangostan. Thailand is a small cacao producer. 100% of Thai cacao are hybrids and clones created for its productivity, disease resistance, and flavor. So they have distinct flavor profiles. Thai cacao is actually gaining a lot of recognition for its unique flavors. Chumphon, one hybrid, is known for flavors that can include green apple, peach, lime zest, chamomile, and balsamic notes. So with chocolate being relatively new on the fabulous Thai food scene, Neil Ransom is also using Thai chocolate as a base for some fabulous Thai-inspired flavor in his chocolate.
Hi, my name is Neil Ransom. I'm the CEO of Siamaya Chocolate, a bean-to-bar chocolate company based in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai. We're excited to share with you a tasting box that has 9 delicious Siamaya flavors, including some single-origin dark chocolates. One that I wanted to know is our 70% dark chocolate. It has a very juicy cherry note to it, which is distinctive to the Thai cacao that we're using. We also have a delicious Thai tea milk chocolate that tastes just like a Thai milk tea that you get at a Thai restaurant, blended with our milk chocolate. And of course, we have a delicious durian milk chocolate for all of you who love durian or who have never tried durian, this is the best way to eat durian. It's a very nice mangoey taste, a little bit of an oniony finish. We think you'll enjoy all of these tropical and Thai-inspired flavors. What makes Siam so great is we only do Thai-inspired and tropical flavors using all of the local ingredients based here in Thailand. We really think you'll enjoy this delicious treat and can't wait to hear what you guys think.
From Thailand, we go back to West Africa, where over 70% of the world's cacao grows. So now we're going to be ending our tour in Ghana, which is Africa, which is the number 2 grower of cacao in the world, accounting for about 20% of the world cacao production. Ghana is the world's second largest exporter of cacao beans after the Ivory Coast. Cacao serves as a major source of income for rural farmers in Ghana. It is very, very important. And all cacao grown in Ghana is sold at fixed prices to the Cocoa Marketing Board, COCOBOD, and primarily exported rather than consumed domestically. They don't really consume a lot of cacao. It's all gone and it's probably in many of your shelves. The government has even provided incentives to boost the interest in cacao farmers and in cacao farming because it is a significant contributor to Ghana's GDP and foreign exchange, of course. Some of the key growing regions include Ashanti, Brong Ahafo, Central Region, Eastern Region, Western Region, Volta. Cacao production naturally occurs here in forested areas where rainfall is 1 to 1.5 meters per year. So as I said, Ghana is known for creating the signature chocolate flavors that America have come to know and love. This is why I mentioned that it's probably in your shelves, because they are so big that you've probably tasted cacao coming from these regions before. They also have chocolate drinks, cacao drinks with sugar, milk, and water. And there is a lot of cacao fruit available and cacao pulp drinks available, which is delicious. The cacao pulp tastes nothing like chocolate. It has like this lychee and super sour and sweet flavor. It's super tropical. It's delicious. Nothing like chocolate. Very refreshing. And apparently it's popular over there. So I am pleased to introduce you to Kimberly and Priscilla Addison, which are the pioneer bean-to-bar chocolate makers in Ghana. Kimberly will lead us through our final tasting.
Hello everybody, my name is Kimberly Addison and I'm one of the co-founders of 57 Chocolate. 57 Chocolate is the pioneer bean-to-bar chocolate manufacturing company located right here in Accra, Ghana. We take Ghana's raw cocoa and transform it into luxurious chocolate that celebrates and reflects African art and culture. Today you'll be tasting one of our Adinka chocolates. So what makes this chocolate so special is that on it are beautifully engraved symbols from the Akan tribe of Ghana. And basically these symbols have different meanings. Hopefully you'll get your Adinka card and you'll be able to decipher what your particular symbol is saying. The flavor you'll be tasting is our bisap or hibiscus flavored chocolate. This particular chocolate is a white chocolate infused with hibiscus and spices. It evokes a drink that is commonly drunk in West Africa. You'll find that it's quite fruity. Some people say that it reminds them of Christmas. Others say that it reminds them of mulled wine. So I hope you enjoy this flavor and this taste of Ghana.
So as we near our time together, there are a few other themes I would like to make sure to point out. Agriculture and export cash crops tend to be primarily men for a variety of reasons. When you start making food products at origin, women are much more likely to be involved. Everything you tried is also featured in either tree-to-bar or direct trade. And this is beautiful because we are sustaining agroforestry and we're trying to be sustainable. We all work either fair trade or direct trade. I personally work direct trade where I talk with the farmers. I ask them what the price is. I know exactly what they are gaining per kilo. I know how much they are charging me. And this is a transparency that if anyone asks me, I know the answer. And it's also a bit ethical to know where the food that you're eating comes from. And of course, a lot of certifications are very expensive, and this is where you know that a lot of this world is a bit bureaucratic and you just have to pay to be noticed. But in reality, most of the things that are grown are organic by small farmers. We just all don't have the money to be paying the certifications that need to be paid in order to have it organic or the fair trade staple. But most of these small brands, you can trust us. And here are a few of tips that you should read whenever you are looking for a bar or whenever you are fair shopping. Take note. If you want to connect with some of us, which are the makers, chocolate makers, here are all of our Instagrams where you can find us and find more information and just get to know us a bit more. Thank you for joining us in traveling the world through chocolate with us. If you would like to give us a rating, it would help us improve. We're always looking to improve. There is a QR code that will take you directly to the link. Thank you. All right, so we've come to an end. Thank you for being here, for being patient. I hope you guys enjoyed everything you've tried. It has been a lot of work and bringing together a lot of people. So in the future, if you would like to host any of your own chocolate tastings, we have 3 completely different tasting kits for your purchase. The 3 kits come in both individual kit that can be used in virtual tastings, online, or group kits that can be used to in-host person events. So if you would like more information, there you can contact under the About in the website.